It was a freezing winter evening. I was waiting at the bus stop, all alone, just watching the cars speed past, their headlights cutting through the darkness, and then a stranger approached. They didn't say anything, just stood beside me, their hands trembling from the cold. Little did I know, this stranger was about to completely change the way I look at life. There's a saying that sometimes life teaches you its most profound lessons from people you barely know. This was one of those times. I had just moved to a new city, far from my family, far from my friends. The evenings were long and quiet. Work was exhausting, and life just felt empty. I was so wrapped up in my own world that I barely noticed anything or anyone around me. But that night, this stranger caught my attention. They were so vulnerable, yet there was a strange calmness about them. Their hands were shaking, their coat was tattered and thin, but their eyes were full of stories I couldn't even begin to imagine. At first, I did what most of us would do. I ignored them. I looked at my phone, I stared down the empty road, anything to avoid making eye contact. But after a few minutes, I couldn't help but glance over. And just as I did, the stranger spoke. In a quiet voice, they asked, "Do you ever feel invisible in this city?" I froze. I was completely stunned. How could a complete stranger say the exact words that had been echoing in my own mind for weeks? We started talking. It began with small talk, the kind you make with anyone at a bus stop. We complained about the freezing cold, the endless traffic, the bus that was taking forever to arrive. But slowly, the conversation went deeper. We talked about life, about our struggles, about dreams we had lost along the way. They shared their story with me. They told me they had been homeless for months. They had lost their job, then their home, and eventually almost everyone they loved. But what struck me was that there was no bitterness in their voice. They weren't angry or resentful. They were just quiet, observant, and patient. It was as if they had accepted their reality and found a different way to exist within it. Hearing their story gave me the courage to share mine. I told them about moving to a new city, about the crushing loneliness, the constant anxiety. I confessed that I felt completely invisible, even when surrounded by crowds of people. And in that moment, something just clicked between us. Even though our struggles were so different on the surface, we understood each other perfectly. We had both experienced that deep, isolating feeling of being utterly alone in a world full of people. Then, the stranger said something that shocked me. They looked at me and said, "I was waiting for someone, but maybe I needed to meet you instead." I didn't understand what they meant. They reached into their worn-out coat and pulled out a crumpled, well-worn notebook. They opened it and I saw pages filled with sketches, letters, and names. It was a collection of stories of strangers they had met and helped in small, quiet ways over the years. "I write down everyone I meet," they explained, "not to be famous or for anyone to see, but to remember that every single life matters." That's when it hit me. This stranger wasn't just someone struggling to survive. They were actively, quietly changing the world around them, one small encounter at a time. And tonight, they had changed mine. My immediate instinct was to help. I reached into my pocket and pulled out all the cash I had, offering it to them, but they just smiled and gently shook their head. "Keep it," they said. "Just remember to notice someone next time, even a stranger." It was a simple request, but it carried so much weight. They weren't asking for money. They were asking for empathy. There's a powerful truth in the idea that sometimes the smallest, most fleeting encounters can have the biggest, most lasting impact. Just then, the bus finally arrived, its lights illuminating their face for a moment. They gave me a small nod, turned, and walked away into the night. I never saw them again, but their words have stayed with me ever since. Notice the people around you. Help quietly, without any expectation of recognition or reward. Understand that one small gesture of kindness can completely change someone's life forever. It certainly changed mine. That night, I stopped feeling invisible because someone saw me. And now, I make it a point to truly see others. So, if you're watching this, I want you to think about the small moments in your day. Smile at someone who looks like they're struggling. offer a kind word, help someone quietly. You never know what battles people are fighting, and you never know how much your small act of connection might mean to them. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever met a stranger who left a mark on your life? Please share your story in the comments below. Let's fill this space with reminders of human connection. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.